Jamaica we call it dungeon, but the British man him call it dungeon. If it that them sanction, if you saw what took place down in Cape Coast dungeon, West Africa. If you saw what took place down in the dungeon, man blood clot up thick down in this dungeon. Black man blood turn up thick in the dungeon. I can see the sign of torture down in this dungeon. I smell blood. You can smell the smell of stale blood down in the dungeon. Nowhere to turn, yet so much in there. Nowhere to sit down, all must be standing. Straight after that, the ship was anchored. They go to a short going called men to fit. And nowadays them dress it up and they call it benefit. And nowadays Babylon dress it up and call it benefit. Give me equal rights and justice, me no want no benefit. Where my own? Give me equal rights and justice, me no want no benefit. For it's the same old strategy they use down in the dungeon. The same dirty strategy they use down in the dungeon. Vamos. And as for the woman part height, you see, it's short like a 1 foot rule. Nobody can stand up and hear me, man. All baby born under that and hear me, man. Sure. Man, know yourself, yeah, man. They refused to ask me my name up on the slave ship. Their minds told them to call me nigga, and that was the end of it. Where is the dignity? You don't know my name. It takes more intelligence to find out my real name. But if you see what went on down in the dungeon, even on the sea, if you see what went on the slave ship, even on the journey, man get dead and beaten and then throw him overboard. Women still never get to deliver their 9 months load. Children born under the agony of knife. Fathers see children and cannot even own their wives. Equal rights and justice stand for all right on the dungeon. Aye. Equal rights and justice stand for all right on the dungeon. And yet them rub it off and show me another something. Yet them abolish it from my eyes, show me another something. So me Sachin know him Wang Tang Tea, Indian man know him Hindustani, but them beat our language from you and me. What a slavery! What happened to Ishi, you and me?
From Elmina Castle, built by the Portuguese in 1482. The Portuguese were the first Europeans to arrive in 1471. The purpose of their coming was to trade and to spread Christianity. They came along with guns, gunpowder, tobacco, used clothing, snaps, and exchanged that for gold, ivory, and later on the added spices. So the system of trade was powerful, exchange of goods for goods. Looking at the amount of gold the Portuguese were getting from the local people, they named the place Elmina. Elmina in their language means the mine. This name the local school pronounced corrupted to today's Elmina. But before the arrival of the Portuguese, the original name of this town was Anum and San. Anum and San in our dialect simply means that water that you drink and never get finished. So Anum and San is the original name of this town before the Portuguese Elmina, which is corrupted to today's Elmina. The Portuguese shifted their attention in the 16th century from the gold trade, which was the reason why they built this castle, to the slave trade. And what triggered this slave trade? What happened was that an exploration was made by the Spaniards, notably Christopher Columbus led trip. So they found colonies and called the place New Caribbean and today's America. They planted sugar, tobacco, cotton plantation. The people they found there were the Amerindians, Native Americans, or the Red Indians. They were forced to work on a plantation farm they established. But due to European diseases and a climatic condition, they couldn't survive. They were dying. It was then that the priests suggested the use of Africans based on the sympathy he had on the people. The name of the priest was Bartolomeo de las Casas. He was a Catholic priest. So based on his suggestion, an experiment was carried out in Hispaniola. Hispaniola is today's Haiti and Dominican Republic. So they brought in some Africans to work on the plantation farm. At the end of it, they realized that one African strength to be equal about 4 of the local people. So this led to the forced exodus of Africans from their homeland to the land that is new to them. How were they getting the slaves? They had them through kidnapping, raping. They gave us to some Africans, we call them slave raiders. They brought in the people, prisoners of war. Long before the Europeans arrived here, we didn't have a country called Ghana, Togo, Mali, Burkina Faso, Senegal. It was empires. Mali Empire, Songhai Empire. In Ghana, we have the Asante Empire, Bencha, Akwamo. These are tribes. Those days in Africa, for you to be considered as a brother or a sister, you should speak the same language or be from the same clan before such person can be considered as one. So there were ethnic conflicts happening, tribal wars. Everyone wanted to expand the land. So they fight, defeat the weaker ones, make prisoners out of them, sold them to the white. They had more arms, they expand their territories. So they had them from today's modern day countries, Benin, Togo, Burkina Faso, Mali, Senegal, all the way to Ghana. That is the headquarters where the castles were built. So before they arrive at the castle, we pass them through slave markets. In the northern part of Ghana, we call it town Sahara. There are slave markets there. Then they march them on barefoot to the coast. But before they arrive at this castle, they pass them through the last place we call Asimansu. In Asimansu, there's a river there called Asimansu Slave. Over there, the slaves had their last battles as Africans. Then they march them on barefoot to the coast, where they will be held in the dungeons for 8 weeks. The Portuguese stayed at this castle for 155 years. In 1637, the Dutch defeated the Portuguese and drove them from this castle. Then they took control over the evil trade. They stayed here up to 1872. So the Dutch spent 235 years at this castle. Then finally, the British bought this castle from the Dutch, used this place for administrative purposes. They brought in soldiers from English, West African speaking countries, trained them at this castle to fight for the British Army. They fought for the British Army in India and Burma in the Second World War. They became known as the Royal West African Frontier Forces. In 1914, the British turned this castle into a police training school. They finally left this place when Ghana gained independence from their rule in 1957. So the British spent 85 years at this castle. Today, as we are speaking, this castle has been under the custody of Ghanaians for 66 years since we had it from British colonial rule. But the age of this castle is 542 years. This is the oldest and the largest castle in sub-Saharan Africa. So whilst the British were at Cape Coast Castle, built opposite for the slave trade, the Dutch, the Portuguese were also at this castle for the slave trade. Then the Danes from Denmark were at Osu Castle in Accra, all for the slave trade. So this is just a brief history about this castle. At this point, I would like to proceed the question. So this is the female courtyard. The rooms you see here were the female slave dungeons. And these are reservoirs. 1, 2. Let's have a look. The Portuguese built this reservoir for the storage of water. These can store about 20,000 gallons of water. So rainwater is collected here. The channel pipes from the roof store rainwater here for domestic purposes at the castle. We are inside one of the female slave dungeons. In here, about 120 men were kept here in shackles. The same place the earth defecated, urinated, vomited, menstruated, and slept for 2 months. That is 8 weeks. The only source of light and ventilation are the 2 windows here, one here, one at the side. There was a big door. The door is always open anytime the governor wants to select any of the female slaves to be raped. Now let's see the largest dungeon. Entering into this dungeon, you could sense, you could feel the presence of people here. This is about 500 years ago, and you can still inhale and feel their presence. About 150 women were kept here. The same place the earth defecated, urinated, and slept, and women menstruate every month. They discharge all this blood and sleep inside of it. No bathroom. They are their last bath as seamen as Africans. So they stay here for 8 weeks. The hole you see there leads to the magazine where the Europeans kept their weapons, guns, gunpowder, and other munitions. So anytime there's a leakage, the gas comes in here, suffocated the women, and killed majority of them. And when you die in the dungeon, you are not given the fitting burial. They pick you and throw you into the sea. So dehumanizing. Let's proceed. So the coasts of West Africa was the graveyard of the Europeans. They died of malaria. So this portion of West Africa, especially Gold Coast, was one of the feared coasts to visit because of mosquito. Mosquito killed them easily. So at the castle, those that came here didn't come with their wives. Anytime their sexual urges emanate, it is a female slave they use for their sexual pleasures. The governor, because of his position, stands at the balcony. Let's come back and have a look. So on top there is the balcony of the governor. The governor stands there, order the soldiers to remove all the female slaves from the dungeon. So they line up at the courtyard. He stands on top, looks through, and selects any of them he prefers. So when the governor picks any woman of choice, he then fetch one. Remember, in there they don't bath. When the governor makes his choice, he fetch water from this reservoir, wash the woman right there at the courtyard, give her something to eat, something to put on, and pass it to his place. So we are seeing the secret passage to the governor's bedroom. The woman will be led through this stairs to the governor's residence. When she gets there through a trapdoor, the trapdoor is lifted. I'll show you. Then she'll be sent to the bedroom where the governor will sexually molest her. So after the governor raped her, they will descend her back into the dungeon. Now, when the ships arrived, there were surgeons, medical doctors, and nurses, Europeans at the castle. Their duty is to examine the slaves to see if they are fit for the journey. If they found out that any of them is pregnant based on what happened, they were separated, they were not shipped. They built stone houses in town. They will keep the woman there till she gave birth. And when she gave birth, they take the child from her and return her back to the castle. This time around, they elevated her to the status of domestic slave. Initially, she was a dungeon slave. So the child is brought to the castle to be trained for man. They started what we call castle schools in Ghana. They trained them to be interpreters. The intelligent, brilliant ones among were trained to become missionaries to spread Christianity. So in this portion of our course, you hear names like Ferguson, Anderson, Pilsen, Wilson, Van Vicken, Van Dyke, Da Costa. These are mulattoes. We call them half-castes in our local dialect. They are the genesis of European names in our culture today. Let's proceed. Cannonball. This weighs about 28 kilos. Any of our baskets to give it a try. This weighs 28 kg. Very heavy. Meant to pack punish any female slave that resists the guard. How?
You tell me.
They will tie a chain around her neck to this cannon box. So she can't go anywhere. She's stuck here. When the rain is falling, it's beating her. When the sun is scorching, she can't go anywhere. She's just stuck right here. The rest through the windows, they'll be seeing what is happening to their colleague to deter them from resisting. You know, some of them were married before they were enslaved. I want to rape you. As an African married woman, my custom resists me allowing myself for another man. So some resisted the guard. They were punished severely with this kind of treatment. So looking at what your colleague is going through, you have to also give in. So majority of them have to give in to the advances of the guard because of the treatment that was given. So cannot. Yeah, inside the last few years slave dungeon. In here, about 130 women were kept here. The same place they ate, defecated, urinated, menstruated, vomited, and slept. There is the ground floor of the dungeon, the original ground floor of the dungeons. Bricks, red bricks. This castle was built under the supervision of Don Diego de Azambuja from Portugal. So red bricks were imported all from Portugal to build this castle. When the Dutch took over in 1637, we also imported yellow bricks from Netherlands. So today, as we are touring the castle, anywhere you see red bricks, they are from Portugal. Yellow bricks, they are from Netherlands, indicating different Europeans that stayed at this castle some time back. Alright, these are not original. These are wooden bars, not original. The original are these ones, iron bars. The iron bars were placed here to deter them from escaping. If it were these wooden bars, they would have broken it. They're very strong.
So those in the corner were original bars.
And these are the original iron bars, about 500 years today. The clothes you see, the rare things you see scattered in the dungeons are not original. They were brought in here 10 years ago. Some Africans came to live in the dungeon for 24 hours. The program they did was the reenactment program. They want to reenact what happened in the days of old. So they lived here for only 24 hours, and at the end, only urinated. And we couldn't stay in this castle because of the smell for more months. That cannot be compared to the days where they were urinating, defecating, and sleeping inside of their mess for 2 months.
Yeah.
So dehumanizing. So this was kept here as a memorial, indicating how the slaves were dressed. They wore sackcloth to cover only their private parts. The room of no return. When the ships arrived, all the female slaves that survived, they transit them to the room of no return through this channel. When we go inside the dungeon, we will not see the staircase the slave used, because when the British were here, by then slavery was abolished. The British Parliament passed the first law against slavery in 1807, the French 1803, the Dutch 1814. So as at 1872, the illegal slave trade was also abolished. When you go to the Cape Coast Castle, Captain George Maclean sealed the tunnel in 1830, signifying the abolishment of the slave trade. So over here too, the wooden staircase the slave used, the British turned it into a drainage, so that when it rains, it can channel rain matter into the sea. This was added here for security reasons.
So this would take them where? To the ships?
Yes, from here, we mark them to the room of no return, pass them through the door of no return, the ships take them to the Caribbean and America. We'll go there. Yes, so we want to see the room of no return. There is the main courtyard. The building in the middle here is the Portuguese church. There you have the sheep. There is the oldest Catholic church in Ghana, built in 1596. When the Dutch launched their final attack on the Portuguese in 1637 and drove them, the Dutch were Protestant, not Catholics. So they divided the church into two. They used the top one as junior soldiers' mess, the down part as auctioning hall. And when the British were here, they also converted the both of them into police classroom. Today, it's a museum. This castle, your position determines your residence. So the higher your rank, the higher your dwelling. The male slaves were kept in the dungeons on the ground floor. at the ground floor of the castle. Then the top here was occupied by missionaries and merchants. They were staying here. When I come to this side, the soldiers that were around, the European soldiers, they were staying here. The second floor, deputy governor. Then the last floor, governor. So the governor occupies the room on the top part of the castle. The position determines your residence. Let's see the room of no 6 steps. So we are inside one of the male slave dungeons. In here, about 100 200 men were kept here. The same place they ate, defecated, urinated, and slept. In all the male slave dungeons, about 600 men in total were kept in Jerusalem. In the female dungeons, 400 men, women in total. So at the time, these castles had 1,000 slaves. 8 weeks time, another 1,000 replaces them. The only source of light and ventilation and the windows you see one here, one on the other side. This room is the brand new room where the slaves were given identification. They'll put brand new iron on the fire after it's been heated with their load. They lift it and place it on their chest, on their arms, to grind them.
So this is where the fire was?
Yes, the brand new irons.
And that's the original?
Not original, please.
Not original.
Yeah. Brand new room. After they are branded here, then they separated them across the various dungeons.
And these are original, these are
The wooden bars. It's the original irons. So when the ships arrived, all the male slaves that survived, they transit them from this dungeon to the room of no return for shipment. I want to see the room of no return.
So did the male slaves have their own room of no return separate from the women?
The same room of no return.
But both of them.
The source of light and ventilation. The rituals of the diaspora. The slave exit to await boat. As we go into this dungeon, if you have a torchlight, please turn it on. Take your stairs gently down.
What is this water?
This is the drainage during the British Belt. So this is the intersection dungeon. The female slaves. That's
Oh,
what
through here?
Yes, through a wooden staircase.
Oh, I had a wooden
Yeah, so the British converted it into a drainage. The males to just enter through the wooden space. So the main intersection, the meeting point of the male slaves
with the
and
finger.
the female slaves, intersection. Once they intersected here, some were married. So if you're able to survive the agony for about 8 weeks, this will be the time to see your spouse again. Child, some African, some. Then from here, they transit and march all of them to the room of no return. We are going to the room of no return. Please bend down gently, take 5 steps before you stand up. The room of no return. Why the name room of no return? Once you get to this room, there is a last time you are seeing the soil of Africa. From this room to this door, we have millions of Africans today in Guyana, Suriname, Trinidad and Tobago, Barbados, Haiti, Jamaica, America,
Anguilla.
yes, all over the world today. There is where the ancestors passed through and never returned back to Africa, the room of no return.
So there were steps here originally?
Yes, a ladder descended them down through the door, looking at this door. That is not to say that some of the slaves were not fat, some were big. These are people not only from Ghana, the Wolos of Senegal, the Mandinkas of Guinea, the Mbundus of Central Africa, the Uyok Yoruba of Nigeria, Ajafo Efe of the Togo Benin, Asantis, Denja, Wamu of Ghana. These are very muscular and fat.
So they were able to pass through here?
Were forced, they were coerced and forced through this
Forced
door
through.
of no return. And because of the condition of the damage to some received, it became lean. They were forced through the door of no return. Smaller boats came them from the mouth of the castle. The sea was very close. Today it has receded due to climate change. So smaller boats picked them right from the mouth of the castle after they descend down the ladder and to the bigger ships anchors on a little distance.
Is this the original door?
It has been changed.
Okay.
And on the slave ships, they are arranged on the deck, one on top of the other. So dehumanizing. The women brutalized, raped, the men assaulted and threw off board. Those that were sick, they were just threw off board. From there, we are going to work on plantation tobacco mines in the Caribbean, in the American Europeans discovered. So the Middle Passage, from this portion, moved them to the American and Caribbean colonies to work on the plantation sugar. From there, the produce are sent to Europe, Manchester, Liverpool for processing. And the finished goods are returned back to Africa. So the triangular trade from Africa, they got them bumper to work on their farms. Then from there, produce are sent to Europe and back to Africa. And that's for the rule of no return. These wreaths you see were brought by people from the diaspora to pay respect to all the victims of yes, slave trade. The bottles you see, they perform rituals and libations here as well. African Americans, Africans in the Caribbean, they leave precious ornaments, sacrifices money for the ancestors as an African custom. They leave their precious ornaments there as an African custom. One of the Dutch governors was buried here. He was called Van Tet, the last director general of the West Indies Company. Please look at that iron there. Can you see W symbol?
Yeah.
W. It's original. That iron is original. It's about 500 years. The W symbol stands for West Indies Company. He was also into the slave trade. The man buried was the last director general. He was from Zeeland. Zeeland is one of the provinces of the Netherlands. He came here on the 16th of January 1750. He died 12th of March. Malaria confirmed killed him only 3 months after his arrival. At the age of 41, he was buried here. A priest wrote this plaque in honor of the governor, and he says that the governor is a God-fearing, kind, and an honest man. So a God-fearing, kind, and an honest person in the midst of all these atrocities. So he was buried here. I leave that one to you. Obviously. Visited the dungeons, we went and seen all the atrocities. We doing all that in everlasting memory of the anguish of our ancestors. Saying that with those who died, rest in peace. With those who returned, be able to trace and find their roots. The humanity never again perpetrates such an injustice against humanity. We, the living, vow to uphold this. This plaque was unveiled here in the year 1992 during the first Pan-African Historical Theatre Festival by the National House of Chiefs in Ghana. People in the diaspora unveiled this plaque, the mission statement in the honor of the slave trade. This statement really means a lot to all of us. The British captured one of the powerful cities, management It was a prison in later area to Seychelles. Yes,
them sanction. If you saw what took place down in this dungeon,
whether it's not clear, we have seen the purpose of the far end of the
down in the dungeon,
whether it's not clear, the far end, far,
black man blood turn up thick in the dungeon. I can see the sign of torture down in this dungeon. You can